Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Tarot for Our Times. And this has been a very, very busy, of course, every week is a busy on the news, but I picked several topics which I think are the top ones. There are others, and I'm going to try to either go live in a lot sooner than I usually do, or to pre-record and then to just upload it. So let's see, anybody here yet? Not yet, but I am going to post this. I'll be uploading this afterwards, and then I will be posting it on YouTube. And I would also say to there is another tarot personal questions that I will be doing on Facebook Live probably next week. So I would like to begin now. And the first thing that I want to do is talk about is the Tyre Nichols case. And I saw a very interesting video by from Ellie Dreams Down Under, and one of my favorite YouTube tarot people from Australia. And I guess to preface this, I will have to say that something has bothered me about that case that has made it seem a little bit different than I'll say the George Floyd and some of these other cases, because I was a little bit shocked to see that all the police involved in this were also Black. And I thought that there was some kind of a racial twist or something about this that was out of the ordinary. And just kind of like the whole thing went down, because I really was not buying that whole traffic stop bit. And apparently with the news reports, their report about that seems to be pretty fabricated. So as she was laying out her cards, and then she went into this whole thing about all of a sudden she thought that it was personal, that they knew that somebody knew that they knew each other, and that apparently it was over a woman. And as I listened to that and saw her pull the cards, it made more and more sense that it was probably around a woman who rejected one of the cops. And she didn't show the get specific as to which cop it was, but she said she looked at it before she did the reading. She looked at a photo of one of them, and it really struck her. There was something odd going on. So, and she even said that this may not be entirely accurate, but it was still personal. And then I went back later after I had viewed the video, and I looked at some of the comments, and I saw that somebody, obviously from Memphis, said she was absolutely dumbfounded, because she said that she was friends of a sister of one of the cops. I don't know if it's one of the cops involved or just somebody on the same force in Memphis, but who had said that there was a woman who had finally decided that she was pretty much rejecting this one cop. And so she was saying that that really made a lot of sense. So that's going to be very interesting to see how this unfolds, because I suspect they may be, if this is all true, that they may be trying to convince this woman to be a witness, which could really probably change the charge. There could be a first-degree murder charge for the ringleader of this, very possibly. So this could probably change the dynamic. But I thought I wanted to pull a few cards about this just to see exactly kind of what's going on, and if I could go a little bit further in depth about maybe more of what this is about. So let's see. First, I'm going to pull the main one about interesting. So this is the Eight of Cups. which is about making an exit of an emotional involvement. It's leaving, it's going away, it's leaving something behind, which is really interesting. So I want to take a look at the energy around this and pull a few more cards and see what story this tells. So, oh, very interesting. We've got the King of Cups in reverse. And this is a very neurotic, needy, emotional, and manipulative, a very negative male figure. I would also say, with a lot of cups reversed, there could be some substance abuse issues, which is nothing within the police are no stranger to that. And it could be that, and at the very least, it's some very serious mental health issues and narcissism. So we've got this walking away, and so going to pull a couple more cards and see what we get around this. So then we have Ace of Pentacles. So I'm going to say, well, I can't believe how many times Ace of Pentacles is saying that there is some material thing in this, some exchange of money, some sort of thing about this, which could be very interesting. And let's see, another card that we will pull is, oh, destitute and left out in the cold. What this is starting to tell me is that, this didn't come up in her reading, but it really, but it really occurred to me that I feel as though if in this scenario, for entertainment purposes only, in this scenario, this could be this could, I feel as though that whoever is involved, whichever police officer is involved with this woman, he's also married, and that she would be the girlfriend. And so the King of Cups in reverse. So I'm going to say that he may have been thinking about leaving the marriage, but is a little bit torn because with him being the King of Cups in reverse, the narcissism kind of wants him to have his cake and eat it too. So I'm going to say that what this is telling me is that there could be the emotional separation from the wife, but it serves his material life to stay with her. Because what this tells me is that there's a possibility he could be taken to the cleaners if his wife were to find out. So I'm going to say there could be some of that involved. I don't think it's involved with the young man, unfortunate young man, but I'm going to say with the woman. I'm getting a feeling that she may have said to the officer, if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to tell your wife. So, and then his, I'm going to say this, the hopes and fear kind of thing is that a big fear of being left destitute and out in the cold if this were to happen. So as I dig down into this a little bit deeper, I'm pretty much seeing that there was the fear of his being found out. That's why, well, he did use, if this scenario is true, he was waiting for the opportunity to get this kid. So I'm going to suspect, I don't know if Tyre was involved with the woman, but I would say that she seemed to be probably interested in him and that he did pose a threat. Because I'm going to say, looking at the picture of those guys, he's younger, in better shape, and all that sort of thing, and kind of very, very attractive and a talented young man. So I want to pull a few cards to see maybe how he could have been involved, but I'm going to say that this is a motivating thing with the policeman. So let's see, we've got make sure I shuffle these pretty well. This is kind of part of the same reading. So then we have the Four of Pentacles, which is pretty much of a letting go. I'm getting a sense that this young man, probably ironic, this may be the horrible irony of the whole thing, is that he may have felt that these police officers, they seem to, this particular trio or quartet of them seem to be really tight and, kind of like considered working together, is that I'm going to say he really didn't feel that it was worth it. And which also could mean that maybe why it explained why he kind of, got into that whole flight thing. So I'm going to say that he was ready to let go of this because it wasn't worth it. But that doesn't mean that the woman, was, I mean, the basic thing is, it seems like she was rejecting this police officer for the young man. So then we have the Six of Wands in reverse, which is telling me further that there was that poor guy was in a no-win situation. No matter what he did, victory was not going to be his, and unfortunately pretty much doomed. And third card, oh yeah, so we have the Alchemist, which is about being aware of the power, the misuse of the power, and all of the resources that the police department has that are misused. So I'm going to say that this young man was very familiar with how that could be, which may explain his sense of panic and really not knowing how to deal with these. So this is really interesting. So I'm going to say, I'm going to pull one card for the energy of all of these. And this is pretty much letting go. He knew he couldn't win. And he didn't realize it by that they were going to go out and get him anyway. So then we have the whole energy around this is the High Priestess in reverse, which is telling me that for this trial, there's going to be a lot of secrets coming out about how this really was not about a traffic stop and about a personal vendetta. I'm also going to say that as far as these guys are, go, it's going to be beyond the abuse of power and the complaints that other people had, because it really looks like they were using this special force that they were in to settle their own personal vendettas. So I'm going to say there's going to be some very, very, very deep and dark shadows of this for their trial. I will do further readings on this, and they may go for taking a plea rather than to have all of this come up. But there's a lot more to this than really meets the eye. So I would say stay tuned. And I feel really bad because I think if this scenario were to play out, this Tyre thought that this woman nobody is really worth that. And he knew the reputation of these guys, but it really didn't matter. They were really out for blood, and the whole thing looked very staged, as the excuse to, I do believe intuitively they really meant to scare the bejeebers out of him, but they went too far. And this is what happened. So like with any other thing, this is one of those things where I will be doing further readings about this. And because as time moves on, because I really believe that we're going to find out, and this will not only be about these police in Memphis, but that dark, shadowy side of police everywhere. And I really, I have had clients that are police, and that really cements my feeling that this shadowy element is in the minority, but it is quite a substantial minority. But I have to say that most of the police that I have dealt with have been really good people. But it's like you get one stinky thing in the barrel and it smells up the whole barrel. So I think that this could probably move to breaking that loyalty that they have towards each other that's very misplaced in a lot of instances, and I'm hoping this cleans things up. So that is my further thing about that. Okay, so that balloon from China, very, very strange thing. And I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but as the news unfolded, I think that the president and his generals were correct in not shooting it down. I mean, those things are filled with helium. That I mean, the damage to property and lives, that could have been monumental. But it just shows you that the Republicans have a tendency to go off half cock like this John Wayne stuff, and then with really, really bad results. But and apparently the Secretary of State is not going to be making the trip to China, and that he has. I saw his speech, and he said not at this time, but he's leaving the door open to have negotiations. So I think this. Let's find out what's going on first, and shooting later is a very wise decision. And there's a lot that we don't know about um, how our people and in the space and the military can, maybe without destroying it, can maybe do something to disable the surveillance. So I'm going to draw a few cards to see what China was up to in sending this. I mean, I know people, they were saying, looking out the window at the news place, saying they could see that. So I just wonder what the deal was with China. So let's see. I'm going to pull a few cards. So the first one is the Eight of Wands, which is meaning the pause of a lot of actions going on. It just kind of pausing and taking a step back. And then we have that with the Four of Wands in reverse, which is talking about in personal readings, it can mean like you're not going to marry him, or you're going to get divorced. But it can talk about splitting up, not celebrating, and things like the garden and the house that were built up have been now damaged. So we've got that. And I think that I would say that that is the situation that is now, that the Eight of Wands is all about suspending these talks. So I'm going to see if I can get a little bit deeper into what the hell they were. Okay, the Star. Okay, the Star card is about manifesting and balance, trying to create abundance. I think what's going on, and it is upright, which I would say that I'm feeling as though that this may have been some kind of experiment that they were doing to see. Maybe it may have been more on, because I know their economy hasn't been doing too hot. And that maybe some of this surveillance was more about, instead of our big military secrets or whatever, but maybe it was maybe more about the industrial end of it, because we have the earth, which her foot on the earth and in the water, trying to see kind of what they could get out of that, and to oh, hi, Susan. I didn't know you were here. Seeing what they could be getting intuitively, but also in a material way. So I'm going to say I don't know that this was a nefarious military thing, but maybe something that they could do for a one-upsmanship in this, getting some of our corporate secrets to maybe because we were starting, because with Biden there have been a lot of things that he has done to maybe take some of the bringing the jobs and that's in manufacturing here. So I'm going to say this could be more of that. And it's more about their creating the abundance. Maybe that was why they were so quick to apologize. So let's see what's coming up here. The Lovers. So I would say that along with the apology that they gave, that they may be trying for some reconciliation. But here we are at a distance now. So what that's telling me, without, we just don't know that much about it. What I'm saying is that we're very wise to distance ourselves. I get a sense that since they were apologizing, that they're going to maybe back off for making any criticism. But the thing is that even though these two people are at a distance, there will be a meeting. But I think China has a few fences to mend. So what I'm going to do is to pull another card to see what may be coming up in the future. Interesting. Justice. And this could mean a number of things. Like, the thing is that there could be talks to pretty much balance this out. What I found out too is that a balloon is unusual. I think they tried to pass it off as a weather balloon, but I don't think that really went. But what I will say is that what I did hear is that we've got satellites. Everybody's got satellites. Everybody's spying on everybody else. And that there is possibly some way that, and of course, no one's going to let the secret out there. There could be some way that we're able to disable, electronically or something like that, whatever information. So we don't know about that, but it seems as though Lady Justice is saying things will probably, at least for, this is not for the really long term, but right now, things will really balance themselves out. Also, this also is telling me that in the future that maybe some of the world courts, like at The Hague, that sort of thing, may start to be, as far as international laws, may be starting to take a look at all of this sort of thing is going on. So right now, I think because of who we have as a president and cooler heads prevailing, that we are not on the brink of World War III like we probably could have been. So I want to go on to Kevin McCarthy, and also about the Ilhan Omar being voted out of her committee. And I first have to, of course, give my own little editorial position. The fact is that I really did wince when she said those things 4 years ago. But I do believe in redemption, and she may still believe some of those things, but it doesn't appear to me that her actions have really done anything. That she got a pretty good spanking from her colleagues. She apologized. She's walked things back. It's been 4 years. Well, on the other hand, I mean, you've got these Republicans who were complicit in January 6th, who have, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has made anti-Semitic remarks, and there may be an apology, but then she goes ahead and makes others. And so I feel as though there's a lot of bigots in that whole MAGA thing that are absolute racists. I shudder to think of what they're saying in the locker room or something like that. But that the hypocrisy of that, the reason that they did that, I mean, the hypocrisy is so stunning that, so that's my 2 cents. But what I am very curious to see what the cards will say about there were several Republicans who were going to vote for her to stay on that committee, but he was somehow able to turn them around. So I want to see if the cards can give me any insight as to how that could happen. I feel as though I may be getting only partial answers and that this may be calling for future readings, but let's see. First, we have the Two of Cups, all intertwined in this deck. So I would say that he's really made some promises, some promises to them that let's see if they can keep them. But I'm going to say he really did some very heavy wooing of them. Let's see what the energy is. Okay. Very interesting. That kind of goes along with this, is that the illusions and delusions of this card is that I'm going to say that I don't think he just made them like, I promise you'll get that bridge or whatever, but I think he was promising like a whole bunch of stuff, a whole big group of stuff. What this is telling me is that it's in reverse. He's not going to be able to do it, but I think he did a very good job at deluding them. So that's kind of where we stand now. So as I'm going to pull just a couple more cards about over this. So Three of Cups, kind of celebrating the celebratory female energy. And I'm going to say there is something going on with his keeping the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert and maybe some other MAGA bimbo there, trying to keep them happy. So he is playing that balancing game of I'm also want to say that I'm going to, then they're kind of spread apart in the other deck. They're kind of like all intertwined. They're kind of spread apart. So I'm going to say he's giving them a false sense of security. He's playing one against the other. This tells me is that he told somebody something and said, don't breathe a word to this. And I think he made some promises and is just hoping that they don't start talking to each other. So I don't know that that's really sustainable. I think he was using that as a test to see if they can really do some of these other outrageous things they have in mind. I want to pick out a hopes and fear card. Queen of Wands in reverse. Yeah, there's I'm seeing this as Marjorie Taylor Greene as the really wicked power hunt. Oh, and this is also, I love this from some of my other YouTube tarot readers. This queen in reverse is someone is about infidelity. And we all know about Marjorie Taylor Greene cheating on her husband with some people at the gym and that sort of thing. And God knows who else. So, I don't care what people do in their personal lives, but then they have a tendency, the queen in reverse will go ahead and do that. Then they have a tendency to tell us what our morality is and how to live. So she's a very hypocritical thing and definitely a misuse of power. So I have to say there's something about her in the mix. I feel as though he may have... in his seeming to back her up, he may have a fear of her too, because she's such a loose cannon. So somehow I feel as though she may have been in the mix of this. He may have gone to her to get some advice to see if she had any dirt on some of these people or whatever. But this is telling me she somehow played a part in this. So so my last question is like, is this sustainable in his holding all of them together? Is this a sign that he is going to hold them together on everything? Or is this going to pretty much fall apart? So we have here Judgment card. Okay. What this is telling me is that there will be some judgment. I'm going to say in other things that, especially those Republicans kind of from the bluish, purplish districts in New York and California, are going to be hearing from their, and especially those with Santos and everything, are going to be hearing from their constituents about how they really do not want them to be entirely on board with him on everything. So I'm going to say this is their people back home. And you've got the Archangel Gabriel who is saying that they really need to get the message. So this is pretty much telling me that this probably isn't sustainable once they get back home. So I want to get one more card for kind of a conclusion. Okay. So we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is about karma and good luck. So I'm going to say that right now that this was a very lucky thing to happen. But just like I can tell you from my personal experience with the roulette wheel in Lake Tahoe a number of years ago, that you could really be hitting it big, but do not get too, don't get too overly confident because you could be putting your chips on the wrong number. So this is saying for right now, he did score a big victory. I feel as though this was a test to see if he could control his people, but this was just for this time. So it'll be very interesting to see what he is going to be able to do the next time around. So I don't like to be on here for too much longer than a half an hour, but what I want to do now is I see that my good old buddy that I'd like to listen to his videos, watch his videos, is Glenn Kirshner is starting to get paranoid about, is the DOJ ever going to do anything? They've been so quiet. This isn't good. I've decided I'm not going to listen to negative things, so I've been sort of avoiding that. But that has been leaving me with some questions too. So I feel as though my first reaction was have heart, because this could be the quiet before the storm. But I have felt about Jack Smith is like he's been very low keyed. I mean, we found out a week later when he got back to the States from the Netherlands that, he really flies under the radar. And I don't think he wants to be seen as like everybody put such stuff on Mueller and all this sort of thing. I think he works very efficiently. I think he works quickly. So I'm just going to draw a couple of cards and see what is going on with those indictments. What's going on? Because people are losing hope, and I don't think that's quite the right thing. So let me just see, where is this at right now? So we have the Prince of Wands. So definitely, this is this is about really, really moving forward with rapid speed and on fire. Oh, hello, hi, Riley. So this is pretty much. Do you do it? Do you mind? Oh, I'm just Riley. I'm just talking about current events. This is just a current events thing. So, okay. So, this is, I think that this is about Jack Smith, and that he is, and currently, oh, okay. No, I'm not answering those questions now, but I do those for another thing. Okay. So I think what this is telling me is that things may be moving very, very quickly. very quickly, and he is kind of like the new kid on the block, which is the prince. Sometimes this when I see this card come up, he could be like overly impetuous and moving fast. So I think I need to get a an energetic clarifier on this one, just to make sure I'm. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, I think this is taking a different directions. Okay. Alrighty. Illusions and delusions. Okay, so I think I need to pull in. I think I might not be quite on the right track as far as saying who this is. Okay. And I swear I shuffled these. Okay. I've got the three. I do have the three of cups, and that's interesting how this changes. So with this, I've got three women, and I think one is Fannie Willis, the other is Letitia James, and I've been often seeing in these readings that there are women in the justice system that are probably going to be bringing Trump down. So there's a lot of very strong female energy. I also feel as though this could be some women working in the DOJ that are moving towards this. So then we have, um, okay, the Fool and making, okay, the Fool and making foolish moves, moving too fast. Okay, not looking before you leap and really being the Fool. So I'm going to say that I have a new take on this. The Prince of Wands. I'm going to say that there is a force that's really pushing, and I think maybe it's all the pundits out there, really, and we're all losing patience. Why don't they move fast? And I think that's a general like, let's move faster, let's get this done. But what this tells me with this Three of Cups is that there are some women very close, and I've been saying for like since I've been doing these that think it's quite likely that Fannie Willis from Georgia could be the first domino that falls. And once you get one domino going, then the rest of them are going to go. So I want to pick a card of energy. So I'm going to say that it may be her more than. Okay, so then I'm going to say, so we have with her, we have the Chariot in reverse. So I'm going to say that there it could be a pause, and they're getting their I's dotted and their T's crossed bit. I think that like she's saying, the indictment could be imminent, but I'm going to say that there's a tending to the last details. But I feel as though they're getting ready to celebrate, and that this could be where the thing is headed. I would say the Fool in reverse is about. I really feel as though it's about those on the other end of those white lie, including Trump. That I'm going to say that because of people waiting and thinking that this isn't going to happen, I feel as though they're going to be making some very, very foolish, impetuous moves that they could really. The Fool in reverse is telling me that those like the Giulianis and the Trumps and and even some of those people in Congress too who think they're safe because they have the majority, that I really feel as though they're going to end up being their own worst enemy. And I've heard some other tarot readers on YouTube say that they think that by Easter that this could be hitting. So I'm going to ask the pendulum. I'm going to say, will there be indictments around Easter? So This is interesting. I'm getting a yes. It's not a real strong one. Okay, it's getting okay. So what this is telling me, there will be a couple coming out, and then when the others come out, there will be some momentum with this. Okay, I've been on for 40 minutes now. So I think that it's time to end this. And as I say, I'm either going to go on live or maybe probably as things come up, I'll just try to record some quickie ones and upload them. So at any rate, thank for those who are here, thank you for coming. But I will end this now and I will be posting it, uploading it here and posting it on Facebook. So I'll see you the next time in the funny papers. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Bye.